Alright, as you could probably tell by the title of this YouTube video, it is not a set review. This is actually a part review. Now, this is a very special part. This is called a brick separator. Lately, I have not seen them, but this one I actually got in set 6857, the Dynamic Duo Funhouse Escape. I have no idea what other sets you can get it in, but if you can find a bigger set that has it, be my guest and do it, because these things are amazing, and I'll explain why. Let me just go over what they look like for a second here. It's got two studs on the top at the end, and then this is actually an axle. It's got a two gap stud, so you can put two studs in the bottom there. It is two studs in width, so you can fit it on any kind of piece that's two studs. Over here we've got it really super thin on the end, and when you first get it, you're like, why on earth did they do that? I will show you that momentarily. Now, I'm going to show you all the things this thing can do, or at least going to try and go over a few things. I may not catch everything, but I've got a few things planned, and I will try and do my very best to show you how this thing works. Now, this piece has a flat piece in the center. Now, if you've ever run into trouble with flat pieces in the center, you can't really get your finger in there to get it. So what you can do is, if you take the flat end of this brick separator, you can dig it toward the corner or toward the middle, and it goes flying. Well, I didn't exactly intend it to go flying, but it did. Anyways, now I'm going to use this plate to show some of the other things that this thing does. Oops, I did not mean to drop it. I meant to set it down. Okay. These are one stud dots. They're not that hard to get apart by themselves. Oops, I should, like, if you just pull apart, they're pretty easy to get apart. But I know that as a little kid I sometimes had trouble with that, so I will show this off. The brick separator, if you take it here and you can pop them apart like that. I thought that was pretty cool. When I was little, I used to use this thing at my school because we had a robotics class, well, Lego class, but it didn't work that well because I couldn't figure out how to use it. Anyways, this is 2 by 2, 4, 6, yeah, that's what I thought, 8. So it's two 2x8s. Now this is a little bit tricky. I've got it on this thing because in case there's something that you have to put it on a Lego set where you have to put a couple together. Usually they don't put two 2x8s together or anything bigger than like a 2x4. Anyways, but you can try and pry them out, and if it doesn't exactly work the way you need it to, you might see there's a little tiny gap there, and that's when the back goes in handy. You can squeeze it right in there and pop them apart together. Well, you pop them apart. So that's cool. Again, using this thing, I will show this off. You could use your fingers if you've had years of experience of trying to pull apart Lego pieces, but this is for those new people that have just gotten into Legos and they don't really have rough fingers yet. You can basically just put it on a piece like this, and if you press hard enough down but while you're pulling back, you can pry these two apart. Basically, I'm just going to be showing this thing off for a little bit, because then I've also got this where it's two 2x4s. Not exactly the most common. I will show the most common thing, and you can usually get, can I get? Well, I can get a little gap again like the 2x8s I got. There we go, and pry them apart. That's basically what you want to do for the bigger pieces. You want to try and get that little gap and then pry them apart. Now, the most common one, a 1x2 stuck to another 1x2. Now, if anybody knows, this is the most irritating thing ever when you're trying to take apart a set, maybe to make something different, or you just want to rebuild the set for, I don't know, more fun. Whatever the case, it's the hardest thing to do. If you put it on a plate like this, and then you put the brick separator on top, you push down, these things come off so easy. I am not kidding. It makes taking apart stuff more fun than it used to be. It's really amazing. Anyways, another thing you could do is, like I showed with the 1x4s, is that you can use your hands, and it's pretty easy, but if you really have not much strength in your fingers, you could use a board, and that's pretty good. But anyways, putting this aside, I'm going to show the other feature on this thing, and that is the axle. Now, the axle comes in handy for a couple reasons. One, you see this is a little pin. They make darker gray ones that are a little bit easier to get out because they have a little bit more of a stub. But if you're trying to grab it, it's really hard. Your fingers kind of slip. Now you could what I've learned is you could push from the back and pull, but that's kind of tricky too. So what I do is I take the little axle, and you can pop this thing just enough so you can pull it out. It's pretty cool. That's one of the greatest things they added to this brick separator. The original gray one, I should say, had a wide end on this side, so it was a little bit bigger, so you had more of a grip. But it didn't have the axle, and all it had was the 2 studs here and the empty studs here. But anyways, one more feature. If you've ever had an axle get stuck in something, it's not really stuck. It's really easy to pull out. But I'm just showing this for the sake of this axle. If you've ever had anything stuck, like they have those little axle, I want to call them gappers, but they're like those little things that you put on, and they don't really do anything. They're just there so you get space between like a wheel and a piece that has studs and the Technic circles. But anyways, you can take this and you can go straight in there, and it has enough room that it'll pop the axle right out, and it'll still have show on that. But anyways, yeah, that's the best thing about this, is that it does that. So that's pretty cool. I should say, if you cannot get this, and if you're planning to get one of these and you still can't get one for a little bit, one new thing you can use is if your parents have dead credit cards that they're trying to get rid of, you can usually cut them, and if you cut them in just about the size of this, so if, like about the size of this end, well, really about like this size, they're usually about this thick, about the thick of the end, and you can use them for separating bricks. It doesn't work as well as the brick separator, but it is a good substitute. So anyways, in conclusion, if you can get one of these bricks, because I think they sell them individually, I'm not entirely sure, I could check, but if they do, I'll show up the price right about now. Anyways, if you can get one of these, get it. So that's all I wanted to say for this, and thank you guys for watching, and please comment and rate and tell me what you'd like to see more about. I've got some more Star Wars sets, so if you'd like to see some more Star Wars stuff, that would be cool. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next set review.